Welcome to Gaia's Love, a podcast of brief messages to help humanity bridge the gap to the new earth. My name is Vivienne Gerard. It is my delight to be a scribe for consciousness today, sharing the wisdom that flows through from Source. Here we go. Episode 333. It is Friday here in Cincinnati. I guess I'll be saying that every time now, won't I? It's Friday, since we're only doing these on Friday. But it feels fun to announce it. Today is Friday. It's the end of the work week. You get to step into a weekend. So yeah, all right. It is chilly today. We have had the craziest weather this week. We have gone from snow to rain to really hot day. Yesterday it was in the, I think, high 50s, low 60s, beautiful sunshine. Today we wake up, there's freezing slush coming down from the sky. It's gray again. We're just riding the waves of Mama Gaia right now. It's fascinating to watch. So there's lots to chat about today. We're going to start with the number 333. So if you have been listening to this podcast, you know how much I love the numbers and angel numbers and the synchronicities of numbers. 333 for me, it represents Trinity, the merging, synthesis of mind, body, spirit. So those three energies working as one here in this human journey. And 333, when I looked it up before I started the podcast, it represents divine messages for an awakening, a spiritual awakening, or an awareness. It symbolizes abundance. There's lots that you can research if you're into numbers also. What it feels like to me is we've arrived at this sweet place in the podcast where there really is an inner and an outer harmony that are matching of mind, body, spirit. I've found a really settled flow and ease in how these podcasts move through me. The speed with which I'm creating and sharing them now feels really easy to me. The content feels solid and rich. It just feels like a beautiful arrival. And the number 333 is like a wink at me, like, yes, well done. And here you are, and revel in it, enjoy it. Know that we are aware of the work that has happened to bring you to this point. I felt that message from my guides today so clearly. Like, it's all perfect. It's all so good. I will share my process with you just because I think you'll find this fun. When I was meditating before starting this recording, I had all these ideas, and I usually can guide the flow of the energy or align better with the flow of the energy as I record these when I have some sort of a title as framework. And so I often, in my meditation time before I start this recording, I will go through titles in my mind, and I'll just be trying them on. Does this feel like what I want to talk about, or does this feel like it? And so I was doing that this morning with so many ideas of what I wanted to share, because a lot is happening. And I would try one title in my mind and get a nod. I'm like, yes, that's great. Okay, I'm going to use that. And I'd relax. And then another title would pop in as I kept meditating, and I'd go, oh, I like that one more. And so I found myself in this inner dialogue with my own soul, my own consciousness, going, well, what do I really want to talk about? What is the highest possibility that I could bring forward today? And so a few more titles popped in. I'm like, oh, those are good. And then another one would come that was higher. I don't know if you ever play this way in your meditation time, but it's like you're trying to outdo yourself with how more expansive the space can become, or how much broader the energy can move. And each new title, it was like, it just kept getting wider. And so what I sort of landed on was this idea of, why rush everything? Why rush the process is the one that came through. Because I'm going to describe some house repairs that are happening here. Why rush the process? And then my mind started answering, well, you want to rush it because of this or this. I'm like, okay, it's not about time. It's not about rushing. That's clearly not the message today. So I wonder what I could talk about. And so my mind was going through some more little thoughts and loops. And then I could hear my guide say, just honor where you are. And I was like, oh, that's right. Honoring where I am. And I'm like, honoring the process. And my whole body lit up. I'm like, of course. The highest possibility always is that we honor the process exactly where we are, exactly what's happening in this moment, and all that has happened to bring us to this point. Honoring the process. Can you just feel how much wider the spaciousness is of that title, that phrase, honoring the process, compared to why rush it? What's the process for? Why are we doing the process? Just honor it. Even taking the word just out. Instead of just honor the process, honoring the process. Words are so powerful, and I feel like this is one example of how much the impact of a change in one word can shift the energy of an experience that you are stepping into. So as the space holder for this experience, you're choosing to take time to listen to what I am emitting or sharing through words, the energy I'm sending out to you through words. Every word choice I allow to move through me impacts the experience, the exchange you're going to have as you listen to my words. And so each word is important. And the precision, the intention behind the words is pivotal to what you and I are co-creating when you listen to me. So honoring the process feels perfect as the title for episode 333. As souls in human bodies, as I said on the podcast with Brendan, I'm going to tell you about, we are tiny bodies inside huge souls. When we honor the process of the mind, the body, and the spirit coming into harmony, aligning for the greatest impact we can have here in this human journey. Wow. Wow. Right? That's why we're here. That's the whole reason every soul, I believe, chooses to have a human incarnation. It's to master mind, body, spirit, and then through that mastery, bring something unique and incredible forward into the world that never existed before your energy arrived here. So, some people master that really early. Some people master that really late. Some people never master that. It's okay. There's no judgment. It's your own journey along the path and honoring the process as you go. So if you're honoring the process, you might be a master, you might not. It's okay. You might master it in this lifetime. You might come back 10, 50, 100, 1,000 times. I don't know. It's all about the process. So it isn't measured. We aren't measuring it. We're just honoring it as we go. All right, that was a whole bunch all at once. So episode 333, the title, we're honoring the process. And that's a little look into the mind of Vivienne Gerard as she prepares for Gaia's love. It's a messy place until clarity arrives, and then the light bulb turns on. I'm like, oh, yes, it was so simple the whole time. Why did I make it so complicated? Okay, so what I want to share first is very exciting and fun for me to share. I have a friend, a beautiful friend. His name is Brendan Fitzgibbons. He was a client when I first met him, and he's just become one of my favorite dear friends. I don't want to use the word dear because it makes him sound less than he is. One of my most vibrant, exciting, hysterically funny friends, who is also so intuitive, so aware of energy and love and people and humanity, and he has this gift of translating what he sees and feels into words through humor. He is a New York City comedian who travels all over and just does funny stuff. And he has a very busy, complex, powerful mind that he is harnessing in the most beautiful ways. And one of his latest creations is a podcast called Spiritual Asshole, which is hysterical because the whole point behind it is looking at practices, philosophies, experiences, conversations, people, professionals, anything, right? Whatever he chooses to focus on, looking at it through the lens of, is this thing that we're talking about spiritual, or is it just being an asshole? Which is such a great way to look at life. So he interviewed me for a podcast, and it aired this week. And yes, there is swearing in our podcast. We just had a good time, and he is so funny in the way that he sees and shares his journey of life. So I will put a link to that podcast in the description of today's episode, and I'm also going to be sending out a newsletter for those who have not signed up for my newsletter. You're missing out. So you probably want to sign up for that, where I will highlight, some of the funnier moments in our conversation. So I will have that go out probably later today. You can sign up for my newsletter on my website, on my homepage. It's mysouljourney.com. I just want to honor also the process that Brendan has been working through. We have known each other, as he describes in our conversation. We've known each other for 5 years, and when he first started doing some coaching work with me, he was at a threshold, at a decision point of, now what? Which way do I go? And how do I direct my focus? And he has really lasered in on what he is exceptionally talented at. And it's bridging these kinds of conversations and doing it through humor. So I really encourage you to take time to listen to our conversation, our interview, and then go back through some of his other episodes. He talks about just so many different things, the law of attraction, acupuncture, what was the other? Ayahuasca. I mean, meditation. He just has some awesome people that he is bringing into this virtual space so that you can be introduced to new ideas and new personalities, and then perhaps that takes you down another trail and you learn something new that you didn't know before. So deep bow to my amazing friend. I am so proud of you and so excited for what this podcast is going to bring to the world, and the funny way in which you're choosing to do it. So meet my friend Brendan Fitzgibbons in our episode that just aired this week. I will make sure to share all that for you to find it and follow it. Okay. Next topic. See, this is what happens when we do one a week. It's like there's so much to talk about. There's so much we need to say. So what feels relevant? I'm trying to decide how I want to share this with you. What has felt relevant for me in this podcast from the very beginning is to share what's happening in my own journey as a way to model or illustrate how I see energy, how I see love, what I feel like this human journey is all about, so that perhaps you find matches in your own journey and it brings through a little aha or clarity, or like I just said about the podcast with Brendan, it takes you down this other pathway that you hadn't considered before, and something I say sparks that. And so this podcast has provided a lot of that, and I know that has happened because so many of you have told me. So when I was thinking about what do I want to share today, I'm like, well, the thing that's been most present in my life this whole week has been this wall we're building. And so I have to talk about building a wall. But then when I started thinking about what I wanted to share about it, I'm like, oh, there's just so much. There's so much to this wall. So I'm going to give a little backstory, and I'm not quite sure how it's all going to be coming through, but I'm just trusting, I'm honoring the process that the way it's going to be shared is going to be of service for you, and also hysterically funny for me. So here's the backstory. I was divorced 10 years ago, and I met this man, and we fell in love, went on a date, fell in love, and then decided we were never going to get married again. And so after a while, it made sense to move in together. Well, both of us had our own houses, and they were in different areas of town. And so we decided we need to start fresh. We're going to buy a new house together and start over. And so we both sold our houses, and then we fell in love with this house that was significantly bigger and more energetically to hold than either of us had experienced before. Well, we decided it was the perfect house. So we took this leap into this much bigger energetic space than what I think either of us were quite ready for at the moment. We moved in with my children, and then we decided it also needs a pool because, these young adults are going to want to have their friends over, and I love pools, he loves pools, the children love pools, and we thought it would just be so much fun. So we built a pool. Not we. We hired people, very talented people, to come and build a pool, and it was stretching our budget to do this, and the person who was building it was someone who knew someone who knew someone, and we got an amazing, we did it for an amazing exchange. And so we were all excited, started building the pool. It took much longer than expected. The budget went bigger than expected, as always happens. It was amazing. And then there were the complications. So the first complication was that there wasn't enough dirt, and they had to literally bring in trucks and trucks and trucks and trucks of dirt to push the wall, push the space around the pool out and stabilize it enough, because it was sort of up in the air. It wasn't underneath ground as it was supposed to be. So we brought in all this dirt, and then we realized we also had to build a retaining wall around the back to hold the dirt, because everything was just off perspective from what we had thought it would be. So first thing that went wrong is that all the trucks, as they were coming up and down our driveway, started to crack the driveway. And we have this beautiful curved driveway that pulled up to the front of the house. We're up at the top of the hill in the middle of all of these trees. It's about 4.5 acres. And it's so peaceful and beautiful. And then all these trucks, all this noise, and they broke the driveway. Literally broke the driveway. So we had to tear some of the driveway up and put gravel down because we'd run out of money. And then the retaining wall, we didn't have the money to do the retaining wall because we'd used it all in the pool. So my husband, who is extremely strong, decided at the time he wasn't my husband because we were never going to get married again. So he built this huge retaining wall with some of these young men that he hired. So we took a breath. The pool was in, the wall was built, the driveway was destroyed, but we were in a house together. We took a breath, and then we decided the next year or the year after, I think it was the next year, to host our family reunion, my family here at my house. So we had about 60 people here, and it was so easy. It was so much easier than we thought, and everybody was having a wonderful time. And so I decided, because we'd sort of been talking about maybe one day we should get married. I don't know. Maybe it's not so terrible to be married after all. So I decided the day after the family reunion to invite my partner to perhaps marry me, which he was like, "You want to get married?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's get married." So we decided, why wait? It was August at the time. We're like, let's just get married in September. So we did. We got our wedding plans together in 5 weeks, and we got married in our front lawn under these 2 beautiful big trees We had 100-something people here and catered it. It was just the most beautiful, perfect day. And we took another exhale. Wow, I'm really giving you the whole story. So then things were sort of stable for a while, and we were finding our balance. We were figuring out how to be this married couple with this new formed family and expand into this home that we had created and claimed for ourselves. That was, such a big statement to ourselves. Like, you deserve this experience of a quiet home in the trees with a beautiful pool. Like, we were learning how to receive that for ourselves, and it took a while. It took many years. And the whole time we would drive up and down this broken driveway loving our backyard, but not so great in the front yard. And we did a lot of our own landscaping. My husband and I are very much in love with taking care of things ourselves. We clean our house ourselves. We mow our own lawn. We do most of our own landscaping. I mean, we really enjoy working on our house. So somewhere along the way, the back wall started to lean a little bit, and then lean a little more. And then there was this massive rain one year, and a whole piece of it fell away. So we had to keep sort of rebuilding, patching, repairing this wall. The dirt around the pool settled, so at least we weren't going to lose our pool, which had been said to us at the very beginning. Perhaps your pool is going to slide down the hill, land on the road at the bottom of the hill. Thank goodness that didn't happen. So this wall has been a challenge. The fence that my husband put on top of it also started leaning as the wall started leaning. Oh, this is so funny to share. So we've looked at it, talked about it, looked at the driveway, talked about the driveway, and known at some point we're going to have to do something, but it's going to cost so much money, and we're just not ready for that. So we have stretched our capacity and expanded within ourselves how much we're willing to receive, and how worthy we feel of receiving, and how deserving we are of having this place that we love so much, that we're settling into, be ours and be as beautiful as we know it can be. And it's taken us 5-6 years to get to this point. And so the beginning of this year, my husband just claimed it. He's like, we're doing it this spring. Like, we are fixing the back wall, and we are replacing the front driveway, and we're going to do it this spring. And so we have managed our money and moved what we need to here and there, and organized our schedules and figured it out, and lined up the most incredible people to help us. And so that's what we have started. We began 2.5 weeks ago, maybe a little longer, with the wall first, the back wall, and hired this company. If you are local to Cincinnati, I am giving the biggest high five and hooray and thank you to Creativescapes. They are absolutely amazing. They came in and tore down the old wall. So every day I've been working here at home and hearing these machines going back and forth. You might be able to hear them today, going back and forth outside the house, just running bricks and gravel and dirt and taking away the old stuff and bringing in the new stuff. And they're working so hard, and they're so talented. This amazing man named Javier, huge shout out to Javier, has literally placed the foundational level of every single brick in this wall that goes around the entire back perimeter of our property. He's placed every single one. He's measured it. He's put a level on it to make sure that it's perfect, so that the wall is never going to move, so that it's going to be flawless. And I've witnessed his mastery of what he does. It's so compelling. It is so impressive to witness someone in their genius, and I have been blessed to be able to watch him build our wall and go out and say hello and check in and marvel and fuss over how awesome it is and tell them how much I just love them and I love our wall, and I'm so grateful for what they are creating. I tried to translate into Spanish yesterday, paradise. I couldn't remember the word. And he was looking at me like, what? And so I was explaining it in other words, which is how I tend to speak Spanish. If I don't know the word I want to say, I'll start saying all these other descriptive words to try to explain the word. So I said to him, I feel like you're creating this masterpiece just for me. And he just had the biggest smile on his face, because that's exactly what he's doing. It's exactly what he's doing. He is bringing into form this dream that my husband and I have had of what's possible for our backyard, what we have always known it could look like, but we haven't been ready to receive until now. I mean, can you feel the magnitude of that? Right? Take a big breath. I'm saying that to myself, not to you. Take a big breath. We are allowing ourselves to receive the highest possibility and honoring the process along the way. And it's been a long way. It's been an up and down process to get to this moment. It's been a lot of work and a lot of confusion and a lot of angst, a lot of learning. And yet here we are. And we're at this pivotal moment, and I use that word with precision. We are pivoting now, my husband and I, from repairing and creating with this amazing company and their skilled laborers. We are pivoting from the back of our house towards the front. Javier and Cliff and all of these beautiful men that have repaired and masterpieced our backyard are almost complete. And so this weekend they wrap up, and then we turn our attention to the front and to creating this driveway with the next amazing group of people who are going to come and help us. It's so significant in the journey my husband and I are taking together. This time right now is so significant for us, and marking it in this way, claiming it in this way through this podcast, sharing it with you, is my way of modeling or saying to all of us, everything we've ever dreamed of, every desire we have inside of us, it's there for a reason. And if we stay focused on that and we honor the process along the way, we learn to master our skills, our understanding, our ability to receive, our ability to align our mind, body, spirit. When we learn to master that, we can literally turn the direction of our lives, shift the trajectory of what we are doing, and completely redirect in a way that now serves us that much more. So yes, I'm talking about walls and marriage and life. And also it's about being a soul in a human body. It's symbolic of so much more. When we choose to come as souls and live here in human form on earth, there is always the possibility that we can change course, change direction. We can daydream, and then eventually one day we claim it. We claim it, and then that dream becomes a reality. Because we claim it, because we say to our partner, to ourselves, to the universe, to whoever, we say, it's now going to happen, it's going to be different, and it's happening now. I'm doing it now. This year is the year. And then watch how it all shifts. Everything aligns to match that energy. So is there work involved? Absolutely. My husband spent hours, so many papers trying to figure it all out, make sure that everything was working with the mortgage and the banks and everything lined up. Like, it took a lot of time and effort to make that happen. It's taken a lot of hours and physical hard work by all these people who are helping us, who are exchanging with us. We pay them, we love them, we appreciate them, and they gift us with this most incredible I don't even know if I have the words. Magic. They gift us with their magic. I sent a message to my husband this morning. I'm like, our backyard is going to be totally transformed today. Today's when the dirt comes and the sod comes, and oh my gosh, it's going to look totally different tonight. I mean, wow. Wow. That's what's possible when we claim something, when we claim a dream, and then honor whatever the process is that's going to take us in the direction of that dream. One day that dream manifests. One day it does. And when it does, holy moly, holy tamale, holy everything. It's so good. It's so good. And then it just becomes better and better. This is what I was feeling with the podcast episode with Brendan, witnessing who he has become as he has stepped into his journey more and more and claimed that he is this spiritual, awesome person. And he's an asshole comedian, right? He's both, but it's so uniquely him. And this podcast, witnessing now that he's created this podcast, and then getting to step into the podcast space with him and play and laugh and reflect and honor his process. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. This summer, when our family and our friends are over and we're swimming in our pool and marveling at how beautiful our backyard paradise is. Like, the gratitude I already know I'm going to be feeling, the joy of the magic that we've co-created. I already know how good it's going to be, and yet when I'm in that moment, it's going to be so much better. It's going to be even better. That's what it feels like as we manifest our dreams. So, breathe. So where do you begin? Begin by looking at what's happening in your week right now. What are you focusing on? What are you doing? What is it that delights you? Is there something you need to shift so that you can tap into your dreams again? If you've lost touch with your dreams, take a time out. Sit down and daydream again. Let your mind and your spirit and your body harmonize and go, remember this. Remember this thing that you love. Do that. Start there. And then as you focus on the dream, it's going to expand, and big breath, right? Things are going to change. For my husband and I, it's believing that it's possible and then allowing ourselves to receive it. That's been the biggest work. Because once we made the decision and claimed it, it happened very easily, comparatively. It happened in a couple months compared to 6 years of us getting ready. I believe that's what many of us experience. The preparation, the resistance, the pushing the dream away. That can go forever. Once we choose to allow it, the dream arrives very quickly and manifests right in front of our eyes. So, yeah, where do you begin? Maybe listen to the episode that Brendan and I shared this week, our little journey and adventure that we've taken. Start there and find some laughter, find some matches in where you are and where we are, where I am, where he is. Well, he's traveling to Europe right now. I'm here in the dirt. Our realities aren't quite matching up, but but they're both perfect. They're both perfect. All right, that is plenty for this Friday. I wish you a beautiful, beautiful weekend. I believe we are headed towards a full moon, so breathe deep. Breathe deep, relax the muscles, allow the soul to play and dance within your mind and your body. And I will see you back here next week. So much love to each of you today. Thank you for tuning in to this vibration of pure love. I invite you to join me on Sunday mornings for an hour of meditation, visualization, and energy healing, where we realign our mind, body, spirit with Gaia and Source. You can learn more at mysouljourney.com. Let's take this message of Gaia's love out into all of our relationships and communities today. So much love from my heart to yours.